So, Venerable Brothers, Dhamma friends, I welcome all of you to Thursday Dhamma discussion till Bhante Dhammajiva returns. So we are conducting English Dhamma discussion on Thursdays. Once he returns, this will be shifted to the Tuesday, but till he returns, so we will be having the English Dhamma discussion at this time. So what we do is we take a certain topic from these days from Devaputta Sangyutta, and then we present the Pali verses, Pali text, and then the Sinhala translation, and then the English translation, and then we take that to discussion. So that is how we were conducting this session, and so far we have spent fair amount of time discussing various suttas, and now we have come to the 10th sutta. Am I correct? 10th sutta. It is called Eni Janga Sutta. Eni Janga Sutta. So it's in the Devata Sangyutta. Eni Janga Sutta, Devata Sangyutta. And so I'll read the Pali verses, and then I invite Venerable Dhamma Alankara to read the Sinhala translation, Venerable Dhammosada to read the English translation from Bhikkhu Bodhi. So the Pali verses going like this. One deity recites, Eni janghang kisang virang, appaharang alolupang. Sihang vekacharang nagang, kamesu anapekkinang. Upasankamma puchchama, kathang dukkha pamucchatiti. Then Buddha answers, Panchakama guna loke, mano chattha pavedita. Etta chandang virajetva, evan dukkha pamucchatiti.
අවසරයි සහස. ඒනි ජංග සූත්‍රය සවැත් නුවර දෙවි ඒනි මුවෙකුගේ මෙන් කෙන්ඩා ඇති කෘෂ වූ ස්වල්පාහාර ඇති ලොල් බැව් නැති සිංහයෙකු මෙන් ඇතෙකු මෙන් එකලාව හැසිරෙන කාමයන්හි නිරපේක්ෂක වූ වීරයන් වහන්සේ වෙත එළඹ කෙසේ දුකින් මිදේදැයි විචාරමි. භගවත්හු ලොව මනස සවැනි කොට ඇති පංචකාම ගුණයෝ ප්‍රකාශ කරන ලදහ. මෙහි ඇල්ම දුරු කොට ලීමෙන් මෙසේ දුකින් මිදේ.
Asai Swamnathe, this sutta is, the title of this sutta is Antelope Calves.
Antelope calves. Mm-hmm.
Right. Having approached you, we ask a question of the slender hero with antelope calves, greedless, subsisting on little food, wandering alone like a lion or naga, without concern for sensual pleasures. How is one released from suffering? And the Buddha responds, 5 cords of sensual pleasure in the world, with mind declared to be the 6th, having expunged desire here, one is thus released from suffering.
Yeah. So one thing is, when I was listening to it, so it talks about the Buddha, isn't it? So how he looks like. Eni jangang kisang virang. So he seems to be a tall person with thin, not legs, what's that? Calves. Thin, thick calves, and appaharang alolupang. And he is not greedy in the food, and he seems to be eating less. Alolupang, appaharang. Appaharang means less food, not eating much. Sihang vekacharang nagang, and he is basically dwelling like a lion. Vekacharang nagang, dwelling like an elephant, a tusker. Kamesu anapekkinang, who has no any desire, any kind of an expectation related to the sensual objects. Whatever sensual desires, he is completely abandoned, and any form of sensuality, he has no any expectation. Upasankamma puchchama kathang dukkha pamucchatiti. So I arrive you, I come towards you, and I am asking, so how to overcome suffering. So in a way, this Deva has observed certain very interesting qualities of the Buddha. So how he looks like, how he is behaving, how his attitude towards the food, and how he has abandoned all the sensual pleasures, and he is living like a tusker, and he is living like a lion. Very interesting. And now typically we have the different idea that Buddha is really every time with the splendor, and he is eating what is necessary. So he sometimes has mentioned, I sometimes eat enough, I sometimes eat less. So he didn't actually want to make him kind of really exemplify, telling I am the best in eating or something like that. He sometimes mentioned that my monks are there who eat even less. They even eat just a one lump of rice. But I am not like that. So he doesn't want to really sort of exaggerate himself using the terms of the food eating. But here this Deva still has found certain very good qualities of the Buddha, how he is giving an example to the others related to the eating. Now there's a really very good Buddha guna called Ahare Mattanyuta. It's actually a Buddha's quality. It's not easy to have someone who really know what exactly the amount of food I want today, the amount of nutrition I want today. So what is suitable for whatever the diseases I am going through today. So that is not an easy kind of a knowledge. So it is attributed to the Buddha, talking about Pasalocharana guna, the 15 kinds of Buddha guna, the Buddha's interesting qualities. Among them, Ahare Mattanyuta is one interesting quality attributed to the Buddha. So it is not that everyone would have it, everyone would possess it. So Buddha basically has that. So that is being attributed to him. And this Deva basically has noticed the interesting qualities of that. And how Buddha eats less and maintain kind of a lighter life, it seems. He's not nowadays, if we consider the monks, they are really, fat and with diabetics and cholesterol and all that are there. Very, very fat and lot of all that diseases coming through because of some overeating and not using the body for exercises and all that. So they have that kind of diseases. But Buddha or the opposite. So he is with a lean body, with lean calves, and eats less, and he has no desire towards the sensual objects or sensual pleasures. So giving a very interesting example to all of us. So he being the teacher. Now I can remember one instance that Buddha particularly mentioned monks, I am a person who hasn't preach for money or preach for any kind of amisa. There are teachers that they are talking about for gain, for fame, for any kind of monetary wealth that they are going to receive. So that can be the reason for them to preach or teach or something like that. But Buddha, on the other hand, is completely deprived from that amisa, completely deprived from that gains and fames. His intention is not that, basically. I can't exactly remember the sutta. It will come to my mind. And so there he particularly mentioned, so you should have the kind of courage to follow me with utter dedication, because the teaching is preached from that angle. It is not taught for money, it is not taught for any kind of a fame, not for being a popular or to gain any kind of other materialistic gain, but it is just taught out of compassion, out of wisdom, and so that others also may realize what I have realized. So it's a really deeper meaning is there, how he is telling like that, so touching, how he is telling like that. And so he is requesting, can't remember that sutta, Kamang Tachocana Harucha. So likewise he mentioned, so you should strive yourself to the level that with a strong determination, I am not giving up this practice, even my, say, the bones, the flesh is taken away or the skin is taken away, something like that. He's giving such a courage for the followers. You should have this kind of an attitude. So how he's teaching, how he's preaching, and the intention of preaching, all that are really exemplified, and not looking for, not reaching for any kind of a materialistic gain. There may be teachers, contemporary teachers, who are with such a kind of a thing, but Buddha is not. So Buddha is completely deprived from the amisa. So that is one interesting quality he highlights. So therefore he used that to encourage the followers. So this teaching is not taught for mere materialistic gains, mere sensual pleasures or any kind of a gain, fame or any of those amisa, worldly gain, worldly kind of a intention. So it is completely mentioned, completely preached, described, explained with some more sublime kind of intention. So therefore the followers are asked, okay, you have to have kind of a courage, you have to have some sort of a dedication even to give up your life and practice it, something like that. So he encourages like that so strongly. In certain sutta, I can't remember how recently I made that. I think Kitagiri Sutta. Let me see. Kitagiri Sutta. Let me find it. Because Kitagiri Sutta is one interesting instance that that's also a very interesting story. You know that while Buddha was in the Pava, as far as I can remember, Pava, so there he further strengthened the Vikala Bhojana Sikkhapada. Because monks are used to go Pindapata even at night. Monks are used to go Pindapata because there is no any restriction, and so the monks are going for Pindapata even at night. So now Buddha encouraged monks, okay monks, I am just eating one meal a day, so you also should behave like that. So as a result of that, actually I have more strength in my body. I am maintaining a very light lifestyle. My body has become more lighter and less ailments. So he encourages having one meal, and so he established this particular sikkhapada, this precept. And most of the monks start following it. They start adhering to it, and they are happy about it. And now gradually they arrive the city called Kitagiri, in that Pavanura. And once they arrive there, so the Kitagiri was accompanied by two particular monks called Assajipunabbasuka. So they are coming from Chabbagge group, and they themselves have many followers. They have 500 followers altogether, or maybe more than that. Now the other monks who want to already has restraint to this particular sikkhapada, so they go and invite them also. Okay, you see brothers, so Buddha has established this precept, Vikala Bhojana Sikkhapada. Now we are only taking one meal, and why don't you adhere to it? And they say, and then they mention, okay, because of this we experience a kind of a lighter life, less vicious, and more body strength, and we have all the other many benefits, health benefits, so why don't you follow it? And they say, we also have all the benefits, and we are also very healthy, we can do anything at any time, and we are also pretty healthy, and we also have very strong body. We eat at any time. While eating at any time, we eat in the morning, we eat in the lunch during the daytime, in the evening also we eat at night. We are also doing really well, so we don't want to follow the precept. So it's they completely deny the accepting of precept. So the other monks start trying to convincing them, but it failed, and then they came and reported to the Buddha, and then Buddha summoned them, asked them to come, and then he asked, monks, are you telling like this? Is it true? And they accept, yes, we are telling like this. And then the Buddha mentioned, if I am telling, okay, certain things to be abandoned, even though it is a pleasurable thing, I am telling it because of a reason, not out of the blue. I am telling it because of a reason, and say even kind of painful thing. If I am trying to abandon, if I am preaching you to abandon, I am telling it because of a reason. Similarly, if there are any kind of equanimous feelings that I am trying to abandon, asking you to abandon, I am telling it for a reason. Not without knowing that I am telling it, but with factually I am knowing, that's why I am telling it. So likewise, So particularly the idea is there are pleasurable feelings, there are painful feelings, there are equanimous feelings. Some of them are useful, better to follow. Some of them are not useful and better avoid. Depending on whether the particular practice deepens the practice or deepens the wholesome qualities and weakens the unwholesome qualities. So that is the criteria that we need to decide. Either this particular pleasurable feeling to be followed, either this painful feeling to be followed, or the equanimous feeling to be followed. If it is producing some kind of a wholesome effect, you better follow it. Otherwise, you better abandon it. And after mentioning that, he would preach about really high attainments in this Gita Sutta, very excellent sutta. And he is mentioning about the arahantship. What are the two categories of arahantship? Anybody know? Two categories. Panyaya mutta, ubuto bhaga vimutta. So, ubuto bhaga. Panyaya mutta is the liberated by wisdom. Ubuto bhaga vimutta is liberated by both sides, both ends. And then the other three, say, nobles are there. One is called the saddhaya mutta, other one is the dittipatta, the third one is called kaya sakhi. So dittipatta is more into the wisdom side. His faculty of wisdom is more refined or sharp, and he is following the path using the wisdom. Saddhaya mutta, the faculty is the saddha, the faith is more refined, and he is following the path with that. And then the kaya sakhi is actually his faculty of the concentration is more powerful. So more than the other two, he has the ability to entertain or enjoy the concentrations, jhanas. So they are the three nobles actually Buddha mentioned there. Actually these three nobles cover all 6 kinds of attainments. Sotapanna palastha, Sakadagami margastha and palastha, Anagami margastha and palastha, and Arhatta margastha. Altogether 6 people are there. 6 nobles are there, covered in these 3 groups. No. Actually, dittipatta person either can be Sotapanna palastha, or Sakadagami margastha, or Sakadagami palastha, or Anagami margastha, or Anagami palastha, or Arihat margastha. Similarly, Kaya Sakhi also, there are 6 people. So there are this Dittipatta, Kaya Sakhi, Saddhaya Mutta. Also there are 6 people. The point is, now say someone is more into Saddha. So he is typically called Saddhanusari. Now he attains Sotapanna. He is now considered as Saddhaya Mutta. There may be a person who is more into the wisdom. He is called Dhammanusari. Once he attained the Sotapanna, so he is called Dittipatta. So that is how it is typically mentioned. So Dittipatta, Saddhaya Mutta are the main 2 streams that they are going through based on the faculty. Now we have 5 faculties: Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. So Saddha is more in the Saddha Vimutta, Saddhanusari noble person, and wisdom is more intense in the Dittipatta, that means the Dhammanusari person. Now, the additional advantage to Kaya Sakhi is he could be one of these, but he has additionally some strong concentration faculty, so he has the capacity to master jhana, and he enjoys jhana. That is the Kaya Sakhi. Now assume that Dittipatta person became an arahant. He is called Panyaya Mutta. And then assume that Saddhaya Mutta person attain arahant. He also may be Panyaya Mutta if he doesn't have any of these jhanas. But there may be an arahant with wisdom as well as this what you call the jhanic attainments. He might have mastered jhanic attainments. Then he is called Upato Bhaga Vimutta. So Buddha explained all these in this Kitagiri Sutta. Very comprehensively he explains all this in the Kitagiri Sutta. And after explaining all this, he makes this very interesting kind of a strong comment like this. Say, let me give you that part. Here. Yopiso bhikkave sattha amisagaru amisadaayado amisehi sansatto viharati. Amisagaru. Now he's talking about the other teachers, religious teachers, spiritual teachers. Amisagaru. So they give some prominence to the gains, worldly gains. Amisagaru. Amisadaayado. So having kind of worldly gains. Amisehi sansatto viharati. Amise sansatto viharati. So more dwelge in indulging in the worldly gains. Amisehi sansatto viharati. Tassappayang evarupi panopanaviya na upeti. Evancha no asa atanang kareyama nacha no evamassa na nang kareyamati. So in case he is preaching, such teacher is preaching, so his kind of spiritual qualities are not that exemplified. But how about the Buddha? So he is talking about himself now. Kimpana bhikkave yan tathagato sabbaso amisehi visansatto viharati. Sabbaso amisehi visansatto viharati. So the Buddha, on the other hand, living without indulging in any of the worldly gains. He is completely deprived. He is completely far from the worldly gains. And therefore he is saying like this, Saddasa bhikkave savakassa sattu sasane pariyogaya vattato ayamanu dhammo hoti. So the person with faith who is now in the sasana, this is the way that he might think. How he is thinking. Sattha bhagava savako hamasmi. Buddha is the teacher, I am a student, I am a follower. Savako hamasmi. Janati bhagava nahan janami iti. Buddha knows, I don't know. Very really strong, very, touchy statement. Basically he is saying, Sattha bhagava savako hamasmi. So this is the way that the follower has to think like. He has to restrain himself like. Sattha bhagava. The Buddha is the teacher. Buddha is the spiritual teacher. And savako hamasi. I am a mere follower. And janati bhagava nahan na janami iti. Buddha knows. I don't know. I am just following it. I am innocent. I am humble. And I am ready to accept what he is talking, what he is telling, preaching. And because he is not teaching, expecting any kind of a gain, fame, praise, wealth or anything. He is talking, he is teaching, he is preaching out of compassion. So that is how because if we think that because he is teaching, asking something from me, then probably I may have a kind of a demanding pace. But now he is talking, preaching out of compassion, not expecting me to do anything for him. You can look at from that angle, then we have the possibility to think, okay, he is the teacher, I am a follower, and he knows, I don't know. Now he is telling that part. Kamang tachocha naharocha attichava sissatu upasuttatu sarire mansalohitang yantang purisa thamena purisa viriyena purisa parakkamena pattabbang natang apapunitta viriyassa santhanam bhavisati iti. So now the person, the follower, the monk, may have kind of a determination, let this skin fall out, the sinews fall out, let just the bones remain, only the blood and all the necessary, only the little parts. But if I have taken kind of a determination, if I have taken a firm determination to continue this path with some manly kind of effort, natang apapunita, without arriving that, without reaching that, without realizing that, I am not going to give it up. So this is the way that he is putting it. Saddasa bhikkave savakasa sattudasane pariyogaya vattato dvinnam palanang anyataram palam patikankang. So if he is continuing like this, he may gain two options. Either ditteva dhamme anya, either he become an arahant, sativa upadisese anagamita. If something remains, he become a non-returner. You read the Kitagiri Sutta. It's a really touching kind of a sutta, very strong, how he is advising the monks on that occasion when they are denying to obey the rule, basically. And he's so powerful, and he's talking about the benefits, why he's telling, how he's preaching, and what's the intention of his teaching. There is no any asking of anything from the followers. Out of compassion he is teaching, and so what's the level that you guys have to behave? Now that is how he is convincing. I mean, if I am teaching you expecting anything in return, asking you to serve me, asking you to please me, to give me some money and all that, then no problem, you can demand. But I am not having any of this. My intention has no any of those. So in such case, you have to behave this way. This Buddha is the teacher, I am a follower. And Buddha knows I don't know. So I now have a kind of a very hearty kind of a strong belief, faith in the Buddha. So I am trying to follow what he is telling till I achieve it. Something like that. So this is also related to this the food. He also talking about the food. So today's topic, what we have taken in this, what is that, Chatuchakka Sutta, there also he is talking about the food. The Deva has recognized that how Buddha is with less food, and how he is having no any kind of a desire towards the food. Sihang ekacharan nagang, so he is behaving like a siha, like a lion, a tusker, and has no intent, no expectations about the pleasures, sensual pleasures. So now I arrive you, I approach you, please tell me how to overcome suffering. Very interesting actually, when we connect all these different points and how the kind of a picture that we can prepare in our mind, how the Buddha approach and how he is trying to convince the followers, and using his own good qualities, and again the intention of how he is preaching. Anything to add? So I am just talking. Yeah.
Avasaraya Swamina, the same phrase I have read in Theri Gatha. The one of the Theri was saying the same thing that Oshada was first he read the praise. So I had read it the same as this in Theri Gatha. And it says a thick calves as a eluma, is a thick calf. And then the second one, it popped out in my mind in Egypt proverb. It says the food you consuming, 1/3 you consume, and 2/3 you consume your doctor.
Consumed by the doctor.
It says that the food you eat, 1/3 you consuming.
Right. 2/3.
2/3 of food you consume your doctor, which means that you have to go to your doctor when it's not good to have so much food. So, and the third one, the same thing we discussed. I read in Samannesana Sahita Sangibana, written by Venerable Yakkaduwe Panyarama Thero, and in that book I read a story which says that some of the one monk, when Buddha was asking just have one meal a day, and then he was like he was not sure that he could maintain his body, so he didn't even go to he didn't even visit Buddha for that 3 months because he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
Then the other monks also were telling him, please go and meet Buddha, and then he feel shame of himself because he couldn't do it. And the other one,
and later he go there, I think Uday, later he go there, I think this is in the Latukikopama Sutta. In Latukikopama Sutta also talks about the same topic, that Buddha puts this particular precept related to what you call this food. And one monk, he's actually the Uday, he later come and say, Bhante, I mean, I was surprised because at the beginning I was not willing to adhere to it. I was wondering about it because you asked us to give up the evening. So we were only taking the night. And so when you are asking us to give up evening, there also we had a kind of friction. I myself had a friction, but later somehow I was able to adjust to it. Then again, now I have already asked, okay, monks, you should avoid the night. But there also I was really, upset because we were keeping the good part of food to eat at night. Very interesting. I mean, in the morning we receive so much of good food, some delicious food. So in the morning we have some amount of eating, and then some of it we keep to eat at night. So night time is the time that we were having a really good meal. Now you are asking to abandon it. So we was really unhappy about it. And later he's having some interesting stories. So Bhante, later I understood there are instances when we are going village Pindapata at night, we being caught sometimes by the thieves. Sometimes we being caught by the soldiers thinking that we are thieves. We are thieves. And sometimes there are women that they are expecting males at night. So they were trying to tempt us. That there are certain women, they are expecting some kind of a sexual pleasure, and now monks are arriving in their house, so they are trying to tempt us so that we have some sex with them. Such situations are there. And sometimes they are throwing the leftover food and leftover water, what is washed. Now they can't see us, so they simply trash it to us. That thing also has happened. And sometimes we fallen to this Gavaravala, where certain pit holes, because we can't see properly, so we being fallen to it. So likewise, many stories were there. Now he's in this Latukika Sutta, that particular monks explain. So what were the kind of repercussions, calamities that they went through because of they have to go for this village Pindapata at night. And sometimes certain women, they get frightened. They seen us, that going with this kind of attire, and they go at night, and in front of the house they knock. I mean, they stand, and once this woman comes out, this fellow is there. So they appear like a ghost. So they start screaming, and then they blame. You better go and cut your stomach using this bloody knife rather than coming and frightening us. Very, very interesting stories are there in this Latukika Sutta. So by seeing all that, Bhante, you have put this particular precepts, and so now I am really happy. Now I understand the value of it. Previously I didn't understand. I was against it. But now I understand how valuable it is that you have avoided us to abandon the night meal or the dinner. So likewise, very interesting. And he is telling, and then Buddha accepted. Buddha, praise him, and he is asking, that he's giving a very beautiful simile. Now say there is a very little bird, so that's called the Latukika. I think that's a little bird. So, and there is a cobweb, this web, and he can't penetrate it because he's so tiny. He's so tiny. There's a cobweb. Assume that in a particular place it is being sometimes that's certain the bugs ne certain bugs are there, cobweb. So they prepare such a cobweb. Now this little bird can't cut it, break it, so he get tangled in it. Now that's it. So that is one simile. And then he is telling there are really mighty tuskers. They've been bound with really huge, large chains or ropes. But if they want to go somewhere, just in one second, they just pull their leg, they cut it off, they break it off, they go away. Now he's asking from the monks, is the cobweb really a strong bondage? Then they say, no, I mean, cobweb is just a mere cobweb. I mean, one can easily, using a finger, they can remove it. But isn't it a really large, strong bondage to this little bird? Yes, Bhante, it is really a small, I mean, even though it's a penny thing for the others, it's really a large, strong kind of a bondage for this little bird. But how about the other thing? For the tusker, I mean, isn't it that really strong rope being a really strong bondage? Yes, it is a really strong bondage, but that fellow easily break it. It is like this. So when I am asking you to give up these petty things, so certain monks take that as a really difficult thing to avoid, because for them it's a really strong bondage. So when I am asking you to give up the night, so for them it's a really large strong bondage, so they can't do it, they can't break it, so they get tangled in it. But certain others, they easily give it up. So very, very interesting simile. There are also Buddha talks in this Latukikipama Sutta. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Silence also, right? I don't understand what's the difference between that the cobweb is weak.
Yeah.
And
but for that little bird, it's not a weak.
It's very strong.
It's not weak.
Yes.
It's a very strong bondage for him. So as a result of that, it can't break it. So it get tangled and he can't break it. He can't break it and get free.
The elephant bondage.
Yeah.
It's strong.
Yeah.
But how it is related to this monk's thing?
Yeah. Now the thing is, now when Buddha is putting a petty kind of a precept, so still that may have kind of a provision that you are trying to cut it off. Now there you assume now the say nighttime meal. Now when Buddha is putting establishing that particular precept, there may be a certain person still have some enjoyment, have some desire towards the nighttime meal. So now the precept is asking it to break, to stop it, give it up, but he can't do it. For him, that desire is so strong, that enjoyment is so strong, so he can't give it up. But for the other person, another monk, so when he is asking to give it up, he easily give it up. So that's the point. So Buddha, how cleverly he is putting a kind of a simile. For certain people, these penny things are very strong bonds that they can't give it up. But for certain others, they easily adhere, they can simply give it up. So related to this ahara, the food, there are many such interesting stories. Now he at certain occasions Buddha mentioned, okay, if I were to establish the fifth parajika, I would have put it into the food. Because the monks have so attached to the food, but anyway, since they have to survive, can't remember. So since the food is really a strong point that everybody needs it, so I am not putting it, but you guys need to say moderate in it. So likewise, there are instances that he is sort of encouraging the monks to be careful on food. Yeah. Anything, please add.
There's another one popped into my mind. There was one guy who came to visit Buddha, and he's telling that, "Oh Lord, that I was amazed when I hear that you are having a less food. So
less food.
So I was amazed, and then Buddha replied that, oh no, I am not kind of a person.
Exactly.
Sometimes I eat a lot.
Yes.
So what I got in that, so he doesn't make any identity with anything. And if someone come up with some identity to make him up with some sort of situation, so he just break it down.
Break it, and that's what I mentioned in the beginning. So he didn't claim that he's the example related to the food. He didn't want to. And when that person is approaching him and trying to praise him, okay, Bhante, I found that you eat less and I really like it, I really appreciate it. And Buddha say, no. I mean, I sometimes eat even less, sometimes eat moderate, sometimes eat even, say, excess. But my monks are there, certain monks are there, they eat very less. They eat just one lump of rice. And so they are more than me. He's putting like that. So he doesn't want to every time that he want to highlight himself. Rather than he said, there are my followers, my monks, who just eat really less. They eat just even one meal a day. They just eat one meal per few days, and sometimes very, very little. So likewise, and there are using different similes he's mentioning. And he simply says, so with that, they are much better than me. So I am not the example in that. So he denied it, basically. Actually, the argument is that why the monks are to be followed. Why monks are following the Buddha. not the reason that he is eating less. So that is not the reason. So why certain monks, the other monks, the followers have to associate the Buddha, go with him and be with him, dwell with him? So what is the exact reason? Not because he is giving an example with the food, by the way. That he denies. But he encourages why the followers have to follow him is that he is often talks about this dasakata, appicca kata, santutti kata, asansagga kata, paviveka kata, vidyarambha kata, vimutti kata, vimutti jnana darsana kata, sila kata, saddha kata, jnana kata. So likewise he is talking about these exemplified qualities, exemplar qualities, and that's why you guys have to follow me. Not that I am eating less. That is not the reason that one has to follow me. Very, very interesting. I mean, how he doesn't want to sometimes avoid any kind of a praise coming to him. Yeah. Kumara or someone, are you there? So we were...
Avsarai Swamin Wahanse.
Niranja, how are
It's
you?
me. I'm good. Swamin Wahanse, there's nobody from this end, but I need to add something like as a housewife and a mother, I'm kind of like opposite side of this what we talk today.
Like, so that means you are overeating.
Oh, not overeating, but I would like to cook delicious food for my family and my friends. Like I want them to praise about my food. Like I'm India. Like I know it's wrong, but I can't stop it cooking delicious, and I want them to eat a lot. So
actually, Buddha didn't ask to cook food. Didn't want to stop cooking food delicious. Because housewives, they better cook food delicious. That's no harm. And you better offer that also to us. No harm. But the thing is, it is not that the monks have to have some kind of another intention. They know that with respect to food. So monks are asked to eat with reflection. No? That there are food reflection. In the what's that යාව මොකක්ද කියන්නේ පටන් ගන්න කොහමද මේ පටිසංකායෝනිසෝ පිණ්ඩපාතම් පරිසේවාමි නේව දවාය න මදාය න මණ්ඩනාය න විභූෂනාය යාව දේවි මස්සකායස්සටිතියා යාපනාය විහිංසූ ප්‍රතියා බ්‍රහ්මචර්යා අනුග්‍රහාය. So likewise there's a very beautiful formal reflection when you are eating food. So you are not eating like a layman who are for fun. Say, not for fun that you are eating, not for any kind of say sport that you are eating. Kind of a playful way you are not eating, right? And again, you are not eating just to say bring muscles and you become that very strong in the sense like a wrestling guy. So you are not eating like that either. And there may be women that they want to beautify their body and so that the others may attract you. You are not eating even with that intention. You are eating just because using this body to continue the path, brahmacharya anugrahaya. So the purpose of eating the food to maintain the body is that you can't live without the food. It's a must to have some food. So therefore, so reflection is fairly helpful for us to abandon the greediness and come back to our terms. So why we are eating? Once we receive very beautiful, really delicious, say, matcha and all that, so how the immediate greediness might arise within us. So at that moment we need to reflect, so why am I eating this? This is not my mother prepared. This is not my father prepared. This is not my sister prepared. My relative prepared. But someone completely unknown to me has offered it to me. Isn't it? So how much we have to be responsible in that sense. So why are these people feeding me? So they have no any link towards me, any bondage towards me. They are not my relatives. They are not my mother. So why they are offering the best food without even giving them to their children? They are offering it to me out of respect that I am now trying to eat. So if I am eating with a lot of pleasurable, these kinds of mean kind of intention, so then I become more and more, how to say that, inner paribhoga. So then I become awe to them. Then I am in debt to them. So there the reflection help us to come to the terms, okay, I am not eating for the fun, for playful activity, or to beautify the body, or to really strengthen the body for such kind of a wrestling kind of a thing. But I am just eating this because this body needs it. It depends on it. And then using not overeating and not less eating, and moderately eating, so that the practice could be easily followed. So that is the exact reason. So likewise, there are very, with respect to food, so Buddha is giving a fairly strong direction for us monks to adhere to follow. And now if we come to the verse that Buddha giving as the answer, Panchakama Gunya Loke Mano Chatta Pavedita. Now Mano Chatta, so the sixth faculty is the mana. So there are 6 faculties: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and the mind. 6 faculties, and one should know these 6 faculties. Etta chandang virajetta, and you need to give up the desire towards it. So basically, when we are talking about the 6 faculties, the corresponding outside faculties also have to be considered. Eye with the form, ear with the sounds, nose with the odor, tongue with the taste, body with the tangibles, and the mind with the mind objects. So this is how we are dealing with, we are interacting with the outside. So all the desire with respect to this internal and external, this ayatana, the bases have to be given up. Chandaragam virajitta, evan chandang virajitta, evan dukkha pamuchatiti, and then only you will be free from suffering. Now the typical approach is that we need to gain all these, we need to acquire all these, possess all these, then only we are happy, isn't it? So that is the typical way that people are thinking. So the more I can look at very interesting, really beautiful sights, films, etc., then only I will be happy. The more I can listen to beautiful music, then only I can be happy. More I can be with sense and all that, whatever the ornaments, then only I'll be happy. When I'm able to eat more and more delicious food, then only I can be happy. The more I can have my loved ones together and kiss them and all that, then only I'll be happy. Similarly, the more I think what I want, then only I'll be happy. Now Buddha is talking the complete opposite, no? Now he is talking complete opposite, isn't it? I mean, typical worldly way of thinking is that I need to acquire all this, I need to make them mine, then only more I have, more I'll be happy. That's the typical approach. But the opposite is mentioned by Buddha. So you need to give up all the desires towards this, then you will be free from suffering. So how are you going to explain it? How are you going to convince it? You see, I mean, it's going completely kind of against way. It is not that you are trying to not to eat, not to listen and, close yourself, shut down yourself. But even, I mean, if you are able to come to a level, even though you see, your mind is not get tangled in it, your mind is not being attracted to it, your mind is not craving to it, isn't it? Even though you listen, if your mind is not tangled in it, then you are having a different kind of escape, no? It's not that you are trying to cut off from everything. You go to utter seclusion and you don't come to me and I don't disturb me. I am on seclusion. So that is one approach sometimes people take, right? They abandon the city, they go to a very, very far forest and they simply be there. Don't come to me and I just want to be escaped. But here the Buddha's approach is not merely that. You may need that for a while just to develop the faculties, but his approach is more advanced. While you are in the city, are you able to live a life where you are not being tangled in any of this? You are not being driven by any of this, isn't it? So amidst all these different sensual impingements, are you have the capacity to stay quiet, stay untangled, stay completely released? So that's pretty challenging. That is the approach that he is taking. Not that you are supposed to cut off yourself. Rather, while being in the society, are you still not being tangled in any of these, but you are in a very higher level in that sense. So without attached to any of these panchakama. So it is not a mere depriving of any of these. Rather, you are supposed to find out a more advanced solution. Even amidst all these sensual impingements, are you able to be free? That's the point, isn't it? Okay. Now you have to tell something simply also there. Yeah, please, Niranja, go ahead.
Swamin Wahanse, Saddhatissa Swamin Wahanse is here, and there's another hand also.
Okay.
Dear Bhante, thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
Yeah.
And this was very interesting because, we are beginners in this life. So always we have to be with the people, and sometimes we have to satisfy them also because they expect us to accept everything they offer to us.
Mm-hmm.
So even now really we have a little bit of Pindapata here.
Mm-hmm.
Even when we go on Pindapata, really this was organized one. But the people are there with various sort of things to be offered. But when we don't like to take something, their faces are not good because they expect that everything whatever they offer, we have to take it.
Exactly.
So that is the nature. But whatever it is now, according to
but in order to satisfy them, if you are eating everything, then you'll suffer.
No. There was a talk like, no, if we eat 2/3, then we have to go to the doctor also. No.
Yes.
Advice is there. In the meantime, the Lord Buddha always advises us to, as you said, that we have not to be tangled with what is around us.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the most important thing. That is why I said that this was interesting as the beginners of this life. But always, now even the monkship or the temple is not everywhere same. So there are different cultures they have developed. So according to that, we have to live also. But even with all these difficulties, always as a person who learns the Dhamma from Nissarana, I have the respect for it. And now Swamin Wahanse and you have tamed us very nicely. So we are also trying, although we are not in the same culture and situation now, we are also following. So this type of discussions are very encouraging us.
Good.
So really I have to thank for that.
Good. Appreciate your participation. Good.
Yes, but anyway, as I told you the other day, there are a lot of obstacles which prevented me from participating. But yesterday I decided, but now I activated that. Thereafter, however, whatever the things that we have, I try to participate these discussions.
Okay. Good.
3 days.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thero and Sanai.
There's another two Bhante.
Right.
Rajika, you can talk.
Thero Saranai.
Yeah, Thero Sanai.
Thank you for the opportunity, Bhante. I actually don't know what the discussion was. I joined halfway during the discussion, but I thought it was really interesting discussion, and I have some kind of feedback to add. So I thought anyway, even though I don't know the topic, I'll still participate to the discussion. Actually, Bhante, when I first started, like around 15 years ago, when I first started to go to the residential retreat, the most biggest concern was how I'm going to survive without having dinner. As lay people, that's like kind of the big thing for us initially. You're not having dinner, like everyone kind of gets scared. You're going to survive without dinner, kind of like that mindset. So somehow at that time I was doing some other practice, different kind of vipassana practice. So I remember I well prepared for that even dinner. If I get hungry, what can I eat? Kind of, not cheating, but still kind of, some sort of food I packed. And then the first one somehow I survived, and then second, third, and then gradually I kind of get used to the process. And then then I can't remember. I think 2018 I went to the first retreat of Venerable Loku Swamin Wahanse, and then I asked a silly question during that the Q&A session if I'm allowed to eat puhul dosa during the Kala Bhojana time. And then Loku Swamin Wahanse gave the interesting answer. But the organizers asked me to come, and they just kind of scolded me. Why did you ask such silly question? And you know that the monks in Thailand, that very little young monks, like young children, they're not even having hot water. How dare you ask such a question? I mean, not a bad way, but they kind of try to give me advice, and it kind of actually gave me the inspiration. And if that kind of young children can survive without having food at dinner time, and why am I so worried about dinner? So I try to kind of get that inspiration, and in the meantime I was looking for some kind of health conscious as well, and then I found out that intermittent fasting, and people kind of encouraged me to skip the breakfast and have the lunch and dinner. But then I thought, the Buddha is a wise person, so I kind of flip it the other way. I started to eat breakfast and lunch, but skip the dinner. Mm-hmm. And I kind of practiced during the lay life a few years. And actually, then I realized actually it's not a big deal skipping the dinner. I can survive. And I find it's more energetic and kind of more light my body as well.
Exactly.
And then when I did more research, it's interesting quote I found, like 1/4 of your the plate is for you to survive. The other 3/4 for the doctors to find diseases, kind of like, it kind of make us sick, the other 3/4. And it seems like the food make us like most of the diabetic and all the diseases and problems comes like we kind of find those problems with food. So and then I kind of keep practicing skipping dinner. Sometimes I have little bit nibbles, but I don't take as the meal as dinner. And then my recent retreat, Bhante, like last few weeks ago, and then I thought maybe I just do the experiment to survive within one meal. So, in here, there's no dana for the breakfast, so we have to prepare our own breakfast. Like we have to take it from home, and the lunch danas, the people will come and offer us. So I still took all the breakfast kind of thing. Even the very first retreat, we went to the Brisbane, like we have to provide our own breakfast dana. I was so worried, can I survive all 7 days with one, just either oats or muesli kind of thing? And then halfway we got offered the bread and stuff. But this time I had all those sort of things, but I thought I'll try skipping the breakfast. And actually, even though I had all the packages, I didn't even open this 7 days. I just 10 o'clock I had some kind of fruit, and then the 11:30 I have the lunch dana, and then I didn't have any kind of the solid food during the day after lunch dana. So it's not that hard as I thought initially 15 years ago, Bhante. So I thought it was an interesting discussion, and I think we all have to practice it by ourselves. Unless we practice, we don't like, if we experience that, then we know we can do it. So I thought to share that my experience with you all, Bhante, for this discussion. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah. Quite true. I mean, everybody who typically used to get many meals, so whenever they are introduced to less meals, they feel that they can't do it. But once they start doing it, they understand, okay, it is possible. They can do it, and it is more meaningful, and many benefits are there. So likewise, skipping the dinner is not a big deal, and there are many, even doctors advise to do that. So anyway, thank you for participation. Are there any other comments?
No, Bhante, thank you very much for my...
Niranja, any others?
Yes, Swamin Wahanse, Saddhatista Swamin Wahanse again still there. I'll just unmute and see.
Yeah. I think he didn't put down the hand, maybe.
Put down, maybe. Yes, maybe. Swaminathan, there's another person. Vimal is there, Swaminathan.
Right.
Thank you, Ravanja. Yeah, it is a nice discussion, actually. The food. As I heard, the one thing, if we can clarify the whole thing, I mean, the what we call Ekanama King. So, Sabbe Satta Aharapitika. The all beings are depending on the food. Like, then food is subdivided into 4 groups, like Kabalinkara Ahara, Spasa Ahara, and Manosanchetana and Vijnana Ahara. Throughout our process, actually to give up all the foods, ending up with the Vijnana Ahara, Patitita Vijnana, like the gross to subtle. That is what the theoretical aspect. In terms of my practical experience, actually these days coconut are very high. So I told my wife, don't buy coconut. So you depend on other foods. Why you are going with the high? So sometimes the onion is going up price. So don't buy onion. So we satisfy with the something else. I mean, replace with something else.
So you put a precept to this wife, no?
Yeah.
You have put a precept to wife.
Anyway, another aspect, I tried to survive with one meal. My timing, I mean sleeping timing, I adjust. So I slept 5 o'clock morning, wake up for the lunch. So, I practice then one meal per day only. It is, my timing is adjusted in that way. I mean, in the lay life. So that is why my practical experience and the theoretical aspects as well, if you could add, your thoughts, it is much appreciated, much merit for the opportunity.
Yeah, actually there are many people who are advocating fasting and this stuff, and what are the benefits of that. Anyway, so they are not merely advising, okay, just give it up. Rather, they give a kind of a systematic approach. So it is not that you are immediately trying to cut off everything. Rather, they ask us to gradually start reducing it, and then slowly, ultimately, once you are confident, you give it up. So likewise, it's better we take a kind of a systematic approach, kind of a gradual approach, rather than immediately taking it off. So that also needs to be considered. And again, if one is not eating enough, not giving the enough nutrition, that also has the repercussion. So one thing is the gastritis, and many monks also have the same disease, and Buddha himself has found it. Now you know that after Buddha asked the monk to abandon the night time and all that vikala bhojana, so many monks start suffering with gastritis. And then only the complaint came to him, Bhante, now many monks are suffering from these kinds of issues, so what are we going to do? Then he, instead of asking them to eat at night, so he introduced some alternatives. One thing is this Sattahakalika Besajja, the 7-day medicine. So, Sappi Navanitang Thelang Madhupanitang. Sappi is the ghee, Navanita, in today's terms, it's the butter. Thelang, the gingerly oil and the other medicinal oil. Thelang Madhu, that means bee honey. Panita means, sugar and all that sugary items. So they are allowed. And again, the Chatumadura, probably you have heard, using on a few of these, they prepare the Chatumadura, and it can make you fairly nutritious, and it's allowed to keep it with you for 7 days. So likewise, certain provisions are given. And again, the fruit juices are allowed, using the small fruits that you can get the fruit juice, that's also allowed. So likewise, Buddha has given the alternatives. It is not that Buddha simply want to be a really regimental and cut off the whole thing and so strict about it. After hearing the situation, after seeing the repercussions, he made certain slight adjustments, and he has provided certain provision. Okay, you monks are now allowed to eat these things, and they are not typically considered as the food. Instead, you can keep it for 7 days and you take it and you are able to overcome the diseases. So likewise, he amended the rule. That's also there. So therefore, we can see that he see the situation, and if there are instances that those things to be amended, he is ready, he is flexible enough to amend it. Okay, if there are...
There's another person, Swami Maha.
Okay.
Ravindu, you can unmute.
Everyone Saranai, Bante Chandaratana.
Yeah.
And I also Saranai. Thank you for for giving me this opportunity. And Bante Chandaratana, I have stayed there for about almost 12 days. As you can remember me, I'm the one who got this long hair.
The tall one with the ponytail, right?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, of course. And yes, I'm so happy to meet you on this platform, and I'm so obliged. And I just need to share my experience because I have stayed there for about 12 years, and as I probably...
We can't hear you, Ravindu. Some disturbances are there. I think your signal strength is less.
Swami Maha, he got disconnected and joining again. We'll see, Swami Maha.
Okay. Now, Niranja, this link issue is sorted out, no?
Link issue is sorted out, Swami Maha. Okay. Now I think it's working properly.
Okay. Fine.
Because
fine.
Thank you, Swami Maha.
Yeah. Okay, there's a question coming from our side. One moment.
Yes.
Sense story?
Actually, it's a sense story.
And good. If we don't have the sense story, it's not good enough. So we'll include that also to the, the schedule.
There was one lady, his husband has left him. So she's so sad and she's so upset. And she was crying sometime, and then she wanted to go to the temple and meet this monk. It's a Zen monk. So... Yeah, she sat down in front of the master, and they were talking about the issue and all. And then master kept some biscuits on the table. And Zen master asked her to take some biscuits. And she took one, and then master asked, okay, what do you think? And she took another one and another one. And then master asked him, okay, what do you think? She's like, oh, this is the carving, and this is the desire. Craving, and this is the desire. That's what we all is in sansara and all that. She's talking about these deep things, and all these data on the book.
But anyway, keep on eating.
Yeah, and then Zen master says, no, that's not the thing. You eat too much. Look at you, you're fat. That's why your husband left you.
That's why your husband left you. So you eat less, then he'll come back to you. Correct. Because sometimes the opposite is also there. Sometimes women are so they purposely want to make them lean. They start fasting, and ultimately they end up with certain other issues. Kind of a trend. Exactly. Issue. Yeah, people suffer with that kind of a mania. So they in order to maintain the body, they eat really less, and they even measure the number of calories and all that. They do some sophisticated calculations, and they are trying to be more precise what amount that they want to eat. That might not be a bad thing. But purposely trying to beautify themselves by eating less and minimizing the fat, all that might have certain adverse effects in case they go to the extreme. Yeah. Exactly. Mental disease. Yeah. Correct. Food related kind of disorders are there. Exactly. Yeah. Ravindu, are you there, or shall we wind up the session?
He's not here, Swami Maha. But Saddha Sister Swami Maha again raise hand.
Okay, we'll give 1 minute. Otherwise, we overeat.
No, this is. I heard that my name was mentioned somewhere. Because of that only.
Okay.
Is it,
don't get angry.
No. That is. I think that is something like a privilege because I have the something. I just heard that Radhika was telling something. Saddati Saddati, that's all. So
Okay.
So I did not know. But was anyway, I am thanking again you all for giving us this golden opportunity.
Okay. So since we almost have, finished our time, so I invite Venerable Dhammajiva to do the formal sharing of merits.
Say such a great fortune it is for us to gather here and listen to this Dhamma that is rousing, that encourages us to be mindful and to be moderate in eating. This Dhamma that eventually leads to dispassion and to the cessation of all preparations. Much merit to teach such Dhamma and also much merit to listen to it. And so I would like to extend these merits to our parents, to all the Devas. May all our relatives rejoice in our merit making. May all the Devas rejoice in our merit making. May all celestial beings protect the Dhamma exposition and the Buddha Sasana for a long time. And may the seeds of Dhamma that we continuously receive keep growing, producing path, fruition, and Nibbana. I invite you all to join in the recitation of the traditional Pali verses for the sharing of merits.